Good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled City Council meeting. Before we begin the regular City Council meeting, I would like to remind members of the audience that anyone wishing to speak during the public comment timeframe must obtain a number card from the city clerk. If you did not obtain a number and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room and a city staff member will issue you a number card. Lining up during public comment will not be permitted, and each speaker should remain in their seat until their number is called. The time clock will begin when you begin your comments. I will now call to order the regular City Council meeting. The time is 6:38 p.m. City Clerk Duarte, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Horn,
Present.
Councilmember Sosa,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo,
Here.
and Mayor Frometa is absent.
At this time, we call Pastor John Manzat from the First Southern Baptist Church to please come forward and lead us in the invocation. Please rise.
Thou art the source of every blessing that we have ever received and ever will receive. We are bound to give thee praise, honor, and glory and thanksgiving for everything. We ask, O Lord, knowing that thou hast all wisdom and all knowledge, to impart thy wisdom, insight, and guidance unto all the city council and all the city leaders that are represented in this room. Lord Heavenly Father, thou knowest that we are limited in our knowledge, in our understanding, and we need thy intervention in our life. We ask that thou will bless us with thy guidance. Thou hast promised that if we seek thee, we acknowledge thee through prayer, that thou will hear and answer our prayers according to thy mercy and grace. We ask, O Lord, that regarding every issue that is brought here at the City Council, that thy will and guidance prevail in our hearts and minds. Teach us, I pray, how to respond in wisdom, in calmness, and in patience. And when our hearts are stirred up with ill emotions, I ask that thou will teach us, O Lord, how to forgive and how to lay aside anything that is hindering us and thy people from making progress in a good way. We thank you, Lord Heavenly Father, for every guidance and every intervention in our life, for every program in this city and those that take a part in giving of themselves, that they might be a blessing to others. Bless them, I pray. Bless the young people in this room. Lead them and guide them in thy ways of righteousness, as well as all of us. And we ask, O Lord Heavenly Father, that thou wilt help us to be ever mindful of the fact that thou art ever present with us. And we thank thee for thy forgiving grace and thy guidance. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor John Manzat from the First Southern Baptist Church. Thank you, sir. Please remain standing at this time for our flag salute. It is an honor for us to have present today to lead us in the flag salute, Boy Scout Troop 441 and Cub Pack 805. Please come forward to lead us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you to Boy Scout Troop 441 and Cub Pack 805. You may be seated. Thank you. So this is a time for city council member announcements, requests for future agenda items, and conference meeting and report. I would like to start to my left with my colleague, council member for the First District, Timothy Horn.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to report that I attended the Girls on Fire workshop. I attended the Downey Chamber of Commerce networking meetings. I participated in the 2023 Fall Educational Seminar, which was very useful in the areas of homelessness, police protection, and what to do with our street vendors. Lastly, I attended the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony at the City Hall Courthouse. And I have nothing to represent for the city manager at this time, so thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Horn. And now from the Second District of Downey, my colleague, Councilmember Hector Sosa.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo. Good evening, everybody. Good to see almost a full room in here. Let's see here. I had the pleasure of attending graduation of a 20-year Navy veteran, Anthony Guardado Jr. He lives in the Second District. I actually met him and his lovely wife when we had a veterans breakfast earlier in the year. Very nice couple, and I was honored that they invited me, so I made it a point to be there. And great ceremony. And I was joined by former Mayor Rick Rodriguez, who did the invocation. It was a beautiful ceremony. And to parlay off of that, we are discussing putting together a breakfast honoring our veterans close to Veterans Day later this year, so stay tuned. I too did attend the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony yesterday, and it was quite a touching tribute, and you know, we must never forget, so it's important that we recognize that and we don't forget, and that we show up to that. I'll keep my comments short today, Mayor Pro Tem. I do have a couple of future agenda item requests. I'm requesting an in-kind donation to Good for their upcoming golf tournament on October 2nd. And also, with respect to Havana Nights, the end time is stated as 9:30 p.m. It's a Friday night. I'm requesting we push that back half hour to 10 p.m. That concludes my comments, Mayor Pro Tem Trujillo.
Thank you, Councilmember Sosa. For my report, I'd like to congratulate Verdugo's Steak, Salads, and Desserts. They took over what used to be I think it was Marie Callender's on Florence. So good luck to Mr. Verdugo and his new venture. I had an opportunity to attend the Southeast District Bar Association meeting. That's the hometown bar association for local attorneys in the Southeast area. I attended the Downey Pride Festival, the sold out show, comedian Mario Aguilar at the Downey Theater. It was great to see so many neighbors in the house at the theater. I also got to meet, and I was not aware that similar to how we have, it's actually put on by the Boy Scouts of America. It's called the Civil Air Patrol Squadron, and they are now back in Downey. They had left to Montebello for a while, but they're the equivalent of sort of like the Boy Scouts for the Air Force. So it's good to have them back in Downey. They meet at the Downey Adult School. So if you're interested, or if you know any teens or youth that are interested in Air Force, please look up the Civil Air Patrol Squadron. Also, I had a chance to review the youth commissioner applications. I believe they're on the consent agenda for today. I must say how impressed I was with the caliber of applicants that are applying to be involved in the administration of our city. We do listen to our youth commissioners. They've come up in the past with some great ideas on how to make Downey a safer, more enjoyable space for our teens. I want to congratulate the Green Olive. I had a chance to attend their 7-year anniversary. Great food in the Downey Landing or the Promenade, the Green Olive.
Promenade.
The Promenade, thank you. And I also had a chance to attend our 9/11 remembrance ceremony. Indeed, a day we will never forget. It's a reminder of the very tough work that our men and women, our first responders and our police department and fire department, the responsibility that they have to respond to disasters. I hope we recognize that they do what is probably the most dangerous job in our country, police officers and firemen. So with that, that will conclude my report. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to our city manager for any city manager, staff member comments.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. We do have a couple of comments this evening. One, staff is pulling items number 7, 10, and 11 from tonight's agenda. We are down, unfortunately, a council member, and those items require an additional council member to participate. Fortunately, the mayor was unable to attend due to illness this evening. Those items will come back at a future agenda, on a future agenda for discussion and council consideration. Again, number 7, the track map for a development along Downey Avenue. Number 10, the preferential parking district discussion, which is a follow-up from a prior meeting. And number 11, which is the speed limit change, is also from a prior meeting. These are not new items. Those are items that were extended from a prior council discussion. And then I just want to confirm also on the future agenda item request, the in-kind donation, I assume that's a foursome, is that what we're talking about? Okay, thank you. And if I have a second on that item?
Second.
Thank you. And then extending the Havana Nights to 10 p.m. We do have a couple of contracts in place already. We'll have to work with those vendors to see if there's any issues with that. But if I have a second, we can definitely work on that item.
Second.
And that's all from staff. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to make a special comment to the residents of Corrigan. I know that several of you took the time to be here. Unfortunately, the mayor is not well today. It requires 3 votes, and I actually am conflicted from voting. So we only have 2, and by city charter are unable to proceed on that item. We received notification. We didn't have enough time to let the public know. So that is why that item is being pulled. I want to apologize to all of you who came out, have sent emails. We are listening, but we cannot proceed on that item today. And now we will have presentations. Okay, so September, apart from being Hispanic Heritage Month, is also Emergency Preparedness Month. In this country, especially in light of recent things such as a pandemic, it is very important for us in government that we protect the public. And so being prepared for emergencies is very important to the city. It's one of the biggest responsibilities we have as your government administrators. So to recognize Emergency Preparedness Month, we have a proclamation, and I want to call upon Ragdi Klo from she's our emergency manager, to receive the proclamation. Please come forward. It's very long, and I'm not going to read it to you. But I do want to recognize, Ragdi, can you tell us a little bit about what you do for the city, and perhaps say a few words about Emergency Preparedness Month?
Yes, of course. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us today. It's nice to see such a crowd. A lot's going on in September. Everyone's busy. People are back at school. But Emergency Preparedness Month, this is the time where I always ask families, Are you prepared for an emergency? A few weeks ago, we had Tropical Storm Hillary, and it was probably the first time in a long time that I've seen so many residents actually come out and grab some sandbags from the city. So much so, we ran out really quickly, much like every other city in the county. Now, thankfully, Tropical Storm Hillary didn't hit our city very much, and hopefully you guys weren't too impacted by it. But those are just some examples. So we're not just talking about the pandemic or a natural disaster. It could be anything. It could even be a small, fire in your kitchen, or it could be a large fire in your apartment complex. At the back over there, I actually have for you pamphlets. It's a fold out. It gives you an outline of how you can make your own emergency plan. It also gives you a list of things that you should add in your emergency plan, and a contact list. So if you don't have that, and even if you live alone, you should have it. And also for the kids, there's some coloring books that encourages you to, for the kids, to also think about Emergency Preparedness Month. My job here is to do outreach, share with you how to better prepare yourself, but I spend a large portion of my time developing emergency plans that focus on the more macro level. So don't call me if you have a heart attack, please call 911. However, when we have a large disaster, an earthquake, large flooding, or we thought a hurricane might be hitting the city, those are times when I start talking to our executive staff, notifying our management that these things are happening, what are our next steps? Resources are limited. Think about it. This is how many of you, but how many police officers are in this room? That's kind of an image of what our city is like. There's only so many police officers and firefighters that can go rushing to save people's lives. So really, we should think about personal preparedness. And so those are just some of the things I do, and I hope you go home and think about it, but please make sure you grab some, and if it runs out, please visit us at the fire administration counter. We have plenty to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reki. Let's get a picture. Okay, so now we're going to recognize some of our amazing Downey City Library staff. And to assist me, I want to call upon our director, Ben Dickow.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council and all my colleagues. I want to, really, the City Council is doing this, but I'm just going to be the voice right now. Over the summer, we had 2 incidents at the Downey City Library, and our staff, these staff who are here tonight, sprang into action. And I want to say, before we start this, that we have the best library staff in the entire county. We are our own library. We're not a county library. And we have a dedicated staff. Our turnover is very low compared to other libraries, and they're all very talented and dedicated. And I can't thank them enough. They're a great staff to work for. So what happened in the summer is in July, we had a patron who outside the library had a seizure and fell and ended up cracking his head on the sidewalk in front. And 3 of our staff, if you guys want to come up, actually. Janice, Natalie, Rick. 3 of our staff were there to help. Janice actually was on the ground helping, administering some first aid while Natalie and Rick coordinated. And we're there with the patron until the paramedics came. And we're happy to say that the patron came out of it okay. But it was a pretty scary incident, but our library staff came in and sprang into action. They're not trained for that necessarily, but they took it upon themselves to, this is what you do at our library. We welcome everybody and we try to help. So for that incident, thank you very much. And then in August, we had another patron inside the library have a seizure and fall down, and Emily was part of a team that was there. Emily, come on down. That helped that patron to get through until paramedics arrived. She also was very hands-on, helping out in the situation and helping that patron. So for all 4 of these library staff, I can't thank you guys enough. I know that the 2 patrons that had the incident can't thank you enough, and this is just a small token of our appreciation for your work. Thank you so much.
So we have a certificate and the mayor's challenge coin, even though she couldn't be here today, to Rick O'Connor. Thank you. Janice Learned. Janice, thank you. Challenge coin for you. Natalie Muniz. Natalie, thank you. And Emily Cuesta. Right. Call these fellas for a picture. Let's get you in the middle. Come on, man.
If you insist.
Thank you. Thank you. And now, there'll be a presentation to the City Council by the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy regarding the Los Angeles River Ranger Pilot Program. And to present, please, we will ask Mr. Mark Stanley to come forward.
Thank you and good evening. I'm Mark Stanley with the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy and the Watershed Conservation Authority. Do I? Oh, it's on this side. Okay. And thank you. Thank you for providing us the opportunity to give you an update on activities regarding this program. It is the Los Angeles Rivers and Mountains pilot program. It grew out of a study that was provided to the legislature back in 2019. The study was an outgrowth of the revitalization plan, actually, that began in 2016. And the revitalization plan recognized 150 project opportunities along the lower Los Angeles River, the 19-mile corridor from Vernon down to Long Beach. In doing so, in looking at the capital investment that was possible, we also wanted to make sure that we viewed other aspects to make sure projects were sustainable. This is an operations and maintenance approach to that capital investment that the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy will be making along the corridor. And this is a pilot program, and it's focused on fostering connections, providing safety, providing an equitable approach to people accessing the river, and activating the corridor. As many of you know, most of our businesses have turned their backs on the LA corridor, and we're trying to activate it and bring people out to the riverway. So what specifically are we focused on? We're focused on public safety. We're focused on maintenance to make sure that it's maintained properly and we can sustain the investment that we're looking to make along the LA River. We're outreaching to the community because we want the community to participate in the process and also provide their input on how we should provide operations and opportunity for recreation on the corridor. That's why we include elements as in terms of interpretive and educational opportunities that we can teach the public about the benefits of being out on the LA River. And the last aspect is as an administration. And with administration, it's administration of the operations and maintenance aspect. But the third component of our outreach to people along the river is governance. We have 14 different jurisdictions along the lower half of the LA River. So what is it exactly? It's a demonstration pilot program. It's approximately 5 miles long. It touches 3 jurisdictions, the County of Los Angeles, unincorporated area, the City of Downey, the City of Bell Gardens, and the City of Southgate. And this is for us to demonstrate what the possibilities are for operations and maintenance, public safety, and educational opportunities along the lower Los Angeles River. It's being funded by the Rivers and Mountains Conservancy, and it's been implemented by the Watershed Conservation Authority. We do have meetings with the community members to discuss all the challenges to providing and activating the reach zone. We meet with the county, we meet with the 3 cities, we meet with homeless services, we meet with education and workforce development through our educational institutions, our community-based organizations that are involved in our program, and WCA has a project team. The Watershed Conservation has a project team that includes Conservation Corps of Long Beach that does maintenance along the corridor, River in Action that's primarily focused on our youth in education, and Nature for All in building stewardship. The MRCA is working with us in terms of additional reach zones along the river so we can demonstrate the value of having a focus on the LA River. Our River Ambassador Program, and I believe we have members of the Conservation Corps here, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak about their participation in the program.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. And my name is Dulce Esteves. I am the River Ambassador Crew Supervisor here at the Conservation Corps of Long Beach. And the River Ambassador Program is a 6-month program for the youth and adults between the ages of 18 and 26. So like they mentioned here, the mission of the River Ambassador Program is to foster and connect between the communities along the reach zone to provide and promote safety, equitable usage of stewardship, and along the LA River. And today I have Brianna here, who is a crew member of the River Ambassador Program. This is her 2nd cohort that she has been a part of. And I'm gonna let her discuss more of what she does as being part of this River Ambassador Program.
As she stated, my name is Brianna Davis. I'm from Watts, California. I joined the program to learn more about the environment. I would like to pursue a future in working as a park ranger, and this program has helped me come to terms with that. They teach a lot about the environment, how to interpret, and things like that. So yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Thank you. Let's see here. Any questions?
Colleagues, any questions? No questions. Does that conclude your presentation?
For this section.
I just wanted to mention that other 2 organizations, Nature for All, as I mentioned, they're providing stewardship and leadership in terms of adults and youth in activating them and educating them about the values of programs along the river corridor and our natural environment that's there. In River in Action, that we can't thank them enough for the youth programs that they've provided within the reach zone as well.
Thank you for your presentation. It is so good to hear that the river corridors are finally going to get some attention, and hopefully we'll be able to use that space in better ways. I know that tragically we see so often homeless encampments along the riverbeds is going to, I think, beautify these rivers for us to use. So thank you for your presentation.
And thank you.
I have a question.
Oh,
I'm just curious, how many ambassadors do you have?
We have a total of 10.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Ambassador, for what you do.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you so much. I will now take public comment on agenda, consent calendar, and non-agenda items. If you do not receive a number and wish to speak, please proceed to the back of the room to be issued a number card by a member of city staff. Before we begin the public comment period, I would like to remind members of the audience that the city's meeting rules contained in the Downey Municipal Code prohibit any conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. Copies of the meeting rules are located in the back of the chambers. Members of the audience and speakers who violate these rules and cause disruption will receive one warning and then may be removed from the meeting. Violations of the rules of decorum for council meetings may also result in an administrative fine under the municipal code or citation for a misdemeanor under Penal Code Section 403. The City Council acknowledges the right of the public to address issues that are within the city's jurisdiction and invites the public to do so during the council meeting. However, this right must be balanced with the need of the City Council to conduct the public business in a fair and efficient manner, free from disruption or disturbance. We expect that everyone who participates in today's meeting, from the members of the council here on the dais, to staff, to the members of the public in attendance, do so with respect and dignity. Please refrain from using profanity, name-calling, or behaving in a way that disrupts this meeting. And this includes yelling, whistling, booing, screaming, and any other outburst that disrupts or disturbs the meeting. Any conduct that interferes or disrupts persons who are addressing the city council, any conduct that interferes with or disrupts council members while they are speaking, and any other conduct that disrupts, disturbs, or interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. I remind speakers that your comments must be addressed to me directly and not to any of the council member, city staff, or the audience. As required by the Brown Act, members of the public may address the council on any matter of tonight's agenda. During the past couple of months, public speakers have used profane and hateful language. This has happened in other communities as well. Please understand that the language is used here in front of the council and community do not support the words or sentiments, but unfortunately, there are First Amendment implications affecting how this issue is handled. We have consulted with our city attorney, and we are told that it's very difficult to do anything about it. So with that said, City Clerk Duarte, did we receive any written public comment to be incorporated into the record?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem, we did. We received 11 written public comment emails in regards to opposition to item number 10 on the agenda, which has been pulled and will be continued to a future meeting. The written public comment was from Sonia Samayoa, Melody Ashley, Ruben Salazar, a resident from Corrigan Avenue, another resident from Corrigan Avenue, Gilbert Castro, Pedro Rendon, Jose Dominguez, Sonia Guardado, Jose Guardado, and Cesar Garcia. We also received written public comment from Andrea Garcia Miller in support of item number 18 and the appointment of John Funk as the city attorney, and also received correspondence from Edgar Martin in opposition to the rate increase for solid waste and recycling services provided by Athens, and a written public comment from resident Lee Squire regarding the organization of the 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment.
Mayor Pro Tem, I need to make a correction on an item 10 from Jose Dominguez. It indicated that I indicated that I was approving the expansion of preferential parking. I am actually the opposite, and I have done that during a number of meetings. I am not expanding the program. I am keeping it the same for the street residents.
Thank you, Councilmember Horn. Do I hear a motion and a second to receive and file written public comment?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved with Mayor Frometa absent.
Now it's time for in-person public comment. City Clerk Duarte, how many speakers have taken a number?
We have a total of 18 speakers that took a card. However, 3 members of the public have left the meeting and returned their cards.
So based on the number of speakers, each speaker will be allotted 3 minutes to address the City Council. I remind all speakers that you must remain seated until your number is called. Speaker number 1, please come forward. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Thank you. In the year 2022, 200 children went missing at Disneyland in Southern California. We may never know how many of them were sacrificed in satanic ritual murder ceremonies. We also may never know how many are in the harems of ultra-rich oil sheiks in Arabia. And don't forget the multitudes of pedophiles who would love to molest children kidnapped from Disneyland. In view of this great evil, I cannot recommend Disneyland to anyone as a vacation destination. Ephesians is a circular letter Paul wrote in AD 61 to several churches, and have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. For it is shameful even to speak of those things which are done by them in secret. Ephesians 5, chapter 5, verses 11 and 12. I am very serious about this. It's not a joke. It really goes on. Thank you.
Speaker number 2, please come forward.
All right. Number 14, another request for street closure permit. Another in-kind asset that we're going to waste on something that could be done somewhere else. There's no reason for us to be doing anything for these little groups that are sitting at the feeding trough to the resident taxpayers here in Downey. And this one is the Downey Foundation for Independent Journalism to host a kickoff festival for Downey Warren Week. First of all, independent journalism does not describe the Downey Patriot. That is a pillar of fake news that has been operating in this town, and it should not receive any funds or any recognition as such as an independent journalist. We give them $75,000 to do a certain service, and this is not one of them. If they want to do these types of kickoff things, they could do it on the campuses, and they can alternate it every other year to go to Downey, then to Warren, then to Downey, then Warren. They can do that with the school district, not the city's funds. Okay, now the campaigns are kicking up. I hear a lot of things going on out there, but I heard a couple of candidates, rumor. One says that we need to solve the crime problem. Yes, there is a crime problem in Downey, and it is intensifying. We need probably 10, 15 more police officers, but we have a council that's not willing to follow law and order, that's for sure. especially our former deputy district attorney, Mayor Pro Tem up here, working in Gascon's office, who was letting criminals out on the street, making this a criminal's paradise. So whenever he comes up and talks about how much they love law enforcement and first responders, you have to question whether that's sincere or not. Another thought is that we could fight crime from the inside out. That's what a candidate said. That's an interesting thought. So it's going to be somebody from the inside out, and that's accountability. The other candidate said that we need to audit every city department to see where the funds are going, have some accountability. That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I don't know which one said it, but I think we should add on and petition all candidates and press them that we not only audit every department in this city, but we audit or have the organizations provide the audit information to us that we give money to. All the nonprofits, the Chamber of Commerce, the Downey Patriot, the Downey Theater. Oh man, talk about a boondoggle and a half over there. We need some information from them. Otherwise, stop giving them money.
Speaker number 3, please come forward.
Hello, I'm currently living on a preferential parking street in Downey, and I would like to remain like it is. I am a homeowner and a taxpayer and should have first right to park in front of my home. I live on a street that's one street over from some condominiums and apartments. I know that before we had preferential parking, we had to deal with all of the following issues. Parking across your driveway and blocking your driveway, making it very difficult to get your car in and out. Non-resident vehicles would come off and drop 3 to 4 vehicles at a time. Those vehicles would be replaced by 4 other vehicles, which would take their place. Non-resident vehicles would be dropped off from LAX shuttle, picking them up and taking them to the airport and leaving their vehicle there for weeks on end. The displacement of resident trash cans and being put on the curb so that these non-resident vehicles could park in their place and never being put back when they left, only to be missed by the trash truck. Non-resident vehicles parked across handicap sideways and hydrants. Non-resident stolen vehicles being left on the street. Non-residents eating, drinking, and playing loud music till 3 a.m. in the morning, then dumping their trash and drug paraphernalia when they left and put on your lawn. Dumping needles, condoms, reefers, beer bottles, fast food trash on resident lawns and our streets. Residents that would work late would come home late and find there'd be no place for them to park. Resident vehicles being broken into. Due to the increased robberies and thefts, property owners are more suspicious about non-resident vehicles parked in their neighborhood, thus leading to confrontation between non-resident vehicle occupants and the property owners. Making excessive noise when they park with their doors slamming, loud exhaust from their vehicles, including arguing and fighting in the street, and early morning hours between the hours of midnight to 4 a.m. These vehicles, non-resident vehicles parking has prevented the opportunity for our own property owners to have their streets cleaned and swept because all non-resident vehicles parked in their place. So opening up preferential parking to non-residents would not only bring all these problems back, but also bring the homeless problem that we're dealing with now in our state. I know that there are neighboring streets that have vehicles on our streets with homeless people living out of them. And I know that having them park on our street would not only add to the problems, all the other problems that I had just mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 4, please come forward.
Hi, I'm Lana Red Rubio. I live on Raybert Street, and I can definitely understand what he's saying because that's exactly what I was going to say. I found out today that they were going to open this up to other people to be able to buy a permit for our neighborhood, and we fought for 2 years to get this permit. And everything that he said is exactly what was going on in our neighborhood. And if you open that up, I mean, that defeats the purpose of even putting the signs out there. So that's why I'm here today, because we cannot allow that to happen. And we were told that this was going to happen because the people on our neighborhood, we have 14 houses on Raybert Street. And out of the 14 houses, they're saying there weren't enough people that bought permits. They want more people to buy permits. Well, if that's all that we have to, the only vehicles that we have to buy permits, I don't understand what the problem is, because that's our neighborhood. But, I just don't want to go backwards. I want to go forward. So that's why I'm here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 5, please come forward.
I'm in the same boat as the other ones. I mean, if you open it back up, there's no use in even purchasing the permits and paying the city to guard the streets, basically cite them that aren't there to keep all the chaos out. So if you extend it and open it up to other streets, we're just going back to square one. And then do we have to start this all over again to get back to where we were? So I just want to keep them so it doesn't get the expansion. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker number 6, please come forward.
Hello. I live on one of the neighboring streets in that neighborhood that has been discussed, and this gentleman over here really put it well. All the problems he was talking about, they do exist, and other problems. I was approached by somebody that was selling cars, parking cars on my street in front of my house, and selling them. He was using it as a used car lot. He told me he'd give me a good deal since I lived there. But yeah, that problem has been ongoing for quite a while, and we finally got a handle on it, and now the city council is considering changing it. It took us years to get to this position, and now right now, today, our street seems like a normal street. There's parking for the residents on a daily basis, and it's just ridiculous what the city is considering doing. That's all I have to say. I've lived there in that house for 47 years. I'm the oldest person on the street, and I've seen a lot of good things and I've seen a lot of bad things, and this is terrible what the city is contemplating. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Speaker number 7, are you still here? A couple of people left. Speaker number 7, how about speaker number 8? We believe they left as well. That takes us to speaker number 9. Are you here? Thank you. Please come forward. Señora, ¿necesita intérprete?
Sí, por favor.
Si me da, yo la voy a ayudar.
Está bien.
Empiece cuando usted esté lista. Si quiere bajar el micrófono, if you want to lower the microphone, I will translate for you.
Sí, ajá. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es María Sánchez. Vengo sobre hablar por la calle Corrigan.
Good evening. My name is Maria Sanchez. I'm here to speak about Corrigan Street.
Ya. Mi esposo compró la casa en 1980
My husband bought the house in 1980.
y estoy aquí porque quiero preguntarles por qué quieren dar más pases si ahorita la calle se ve preciosa, sin basura.
I'm here because I want to ask, why does the city council want to give more parking passes? Today, the street is calm and clean, there's no garbage.
Y luego también quería preguntarle que sí pueden vender pases, pero como a nosotros que somos dueños de propiedad, que mi esposo paga taxes, les van a dar preferencia a otras personas que ni son de ahí.
I understand that the city wants to sell passes, but I have to ask why my husband, who pays his taxes, would not be given preference over other people who do not live on that street.
Va a incrementar el crimen, va a incrementar, para la policía va a haber más trabajo y también va a haber más basura.
Crime is going to go up, there's going to be more work for the police department, and there's going to be more garbage.
Vamos a volver al tiempo de atrás y es lo que no queremos nosotros los de la calle Corrigan.
We're going to return to the times of the past, and that's what we don't want, those of us from Corrigan Street.
En el boletín que nos dieron, decía que si rentan espacios, las personas que, como nosotros que hayamos rentado, lleguemos a cierto tiempo, no va a haber estacionamiento para nosotros. Entonces, ¿cuál va a ser el beneficio de que nosotros hayamos empezado a pagar por nuestro parking y no tengamos dónde estacionarnos?
Okay, on a flyer we received, it spoke about renting spaces, but I would like to ask if people are going to rent spaces, there's going to be no room left for those of us that live there.
Vamos al tiempo de atrás y eso es lo que no queremos. Ahorita la calle se ve muy limpia y si vienen más personas de otro lugar, van a tirar basura, van a tirar... He visto que personas llegan por media hora y comen y tiran su basura ahí y eso no es justo.
Okay, we're going to go back to the times of the past. Today the street is clean. If you allow this to happen, I've seen that people come, they stay for about 30 minutes and then they throw away their garbage.
Muchas gracias y se los agradeceríamos que no rentaran o que rentaran un espacio, pero no es justo que nosotros que pagamos tanto tax y todo, nos quiten el privilegio de eso. Gracias.
Thank you. I thank you for your time. It's not fair that if you rent the spots out, there won't be spots for those of us that live there. Thank you. Gracias a usted. Thank you. Speaker number 10, are you still here? Takes us to speaker number 11. Please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. I am a Corrigan resident, and I agree with what speaker number 3 said. He covered all of that, he covered all of the points that we are concerned, and of course, I agree also with the other speakers that just spoke. The preferential treatment on Corrigan was approved on Q2 and Q3 of 2022, and the signs were finally put on February. And I mentioned at the last meeting, for the last 10 years, I was a prisoner of my own home, couldn't go anywhere. I am a taxpayer for 40 years, and I live in Corrigan for 30. So that's a lot of money, right? And many years ago, we had a neighbor, Mr. Clayton. And right now his granddaughter lives there. Clayton welcomed me to the street as all of the other neighbors. And he knew every person on the street, also as the children, right? And right now, we all know each other and we respect each other. Myself, along with my Corrigan residents and the other, and Buckles and Rayburn and Volti, want to keep the preferential parking the way it is because as my other, resident said, right, the street is clean right now. A few cars come, but we already know who they are. But if this changes, this will increase risk of burglaries. Casing the neighborhoods, my neighborhood, trashing of lawns and streets. Like she said, people come and eat and they leave their trash. It will increase police calls. There were about 80 people and 1 police officer. As we already know, there isn't enough force there to protect all of us. So we need to, keep the way it is, so we're not in a situation that we have to call police, but they're busy with other crime, and they're not come rescue me or my neighbors because they're busy on something else. Loud music will continue. Delayed trash pickup, loot acts, which police officers know that still happening, right? But if this is open for other people, it will get worse again. Also, I'm a senior citizen. As you heard, I've been living on the street for 30 years. I could have come home at 2 a.m. in the morning, park 1-2 blocks away to get to my house, or from my house to my home. That is not safe. I worked many years, being faithful to the country, and I'm asking the city to really take a look at what's going on and make sure that the parking stays the way it is. Thank you for your time. Good evening.
Thank you. Speaker number 12, please come forward.
Good evening. I'm a resident of the Corrigan. I just want to let you know that I want to keep the preference parking the way it is. Trying to explain all the items that number 3 explained. And if we consider the security, we have to keep that way, because with somebody parking in front of your house, you're always aware who it is and what they're doing. If they're watching you what you're doing, and they stealing information close to your house. So I think that's why, if you want to be safe, don't let that modification, okay? Just keep it that way it is, a preference parking, and we're going to be safe, all the residents. That's all.
Thank you. Sir, you can leave your number in the basket. That was, let's go to speaker number 13. Please come forward.
Mayor Pro Tem, council members, Mr. Bradley and staff, good evening. I'd like to follow up with some of the comments the council people said earlier in your initial remarks to the public. Our country is in a state of disarray. I think most of us will agree with that. There was one time in my life that I can recall that there was peace, at least I thought there was peace in our country. And that happened approximately 22 years ago, where a group of 18 jihadists decided to create a problem and have terrorism against the United States. After that time, after that event, there was a sense of nationalism. There was a sense of helping each other. That warm feeling was there. I've never experienced it since then. I want to also congratulate and acknowledge the New York Police Department, the New York Fire Department. the EMTs and all the volunteers who put their lives at stake in order to try to save their fellow man. Mayor Pro Tem, this ends my comments.
Thank you. Speaker 14, please come forward.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's very difficult to manage things with one hand. However, Mr. Pro Temp Mayor, I'm back in the city of Downey because I'm very concerned about some of the fuck that shit. So, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to advise you that just about a month ago when I was out here with Mr. Herman, although I'm not a pronounced service dog, I'm not supposed to be speaking, but today I plan to speak. Oh, careful with that water bottle, sir. I don't want you to choke. So, again, now, violations of the First and Fifth Amendments, sir, regarding the 14th Amendment, and Article Section 2 of the California Constitution regarding enforcement of unconstitutional rules of decorum, is that the rules of decorum and their enforcement violate my First Amendment as a service dog. Ruff, 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 ruff. And you heard some people in here and over there talking about why we have to have these First Amendment provisions, which constitute impermissible prior restraints on speech. Just like what you said earlier, which was offensive to Mr. Herman. You said he's not supposed to use offensive, venomous, vulgar language. But under the certain terminology of Brandenburg versus Ohio, which he will stipulate into the record soon, is that city officials should not censor the plaintiff, Armando Herman, and prevent him from exercising his first free speech of rights, thereby depriving the plaintiff, Mr. Herman, his legal and constitutional rights under public comment number, is it 14? No, 13 on the agenda regarding the Brown Act. Now, let me read this passionately without any insult, and please, to those of you in the audience, please cover your ears if it's offensive, but it's not. Brandenburg versus Ohio, US 395, 444, 1969. So it reads, the significant portions that could be understood were how far the nigger going to. Yeah, this is what we're going to do to the niggers, a dirty nigger. Send the Jews back to Israel. But why? Why? Well, to save America. Let's go back to constitutional betterment. Bury the niggers. We intend to do our parts. Hey, it's a little funny, but it's reality. Come on. Be serious, guys. So, we intend to do our part, give us our state rights, freedom for the whites, and I and Herman, a nigger, will have to fight for every inch he gets from now on. So, again, for the record, Mr. Pro Temp Mayor, I have all these documents which I've submitted to the FBI at 310-477-6565. Do not discard them because it will be an illegal action and a violation of my civil rights. Thank you.
Is speaker number 15 still in the chambers? How about speaker number 16, 16? Okay. Speaker 17, please come forward.
Okay, so why is the mayor not here? This is reminding me of one time when she wasn't here, and she has usually really good attendance. But she missed a meeting that also had to do with the city attorney. And now, apparently, we have our new city attorney in waiting. So, and she's not here. I think that's like interesting. Maybe it's, maybe she's trying to say something. So I oppose this city attorney. I said You should have an elected city attorney. So you want this person to be like your employee, so you can fire them at will to do your bidding, just like you've had Langer, who's even worse because she's been a contractor. So no, listen up. We want the government positions to be elected because that's like more accountability instead of them being your employee. Because we know that you're not for the people. No one believes you're for the people, hence so many people are upset with you today, and in other days they're upset for other reasons because you don't represent the people. You're not doing good things. We already heard about how like where's all the money going? We already heard about how the DA went after the people that stole like $40,000 from Downey. We already heard about what happened with the cops. The LA Times was all over it. We already heard the gentleman reminded us about the mayor pro tem's previous attack on justice, hence he had to resign from the district attorney. It's like really bad. But thankfully, the elections are coming, so I'm glad to see that there's new people. However, you got to truly vote different. You can't just be voting for like these people's friends. You got to think outside the box. I really like, I don't agree with him, but I think it's Casas. Yeah, why are the other ones not here? At least, I don't agree with a lot of her policies, but the one in District 3, Miss Pemberton, she's at least here. Why are the other ones just coming? They just want to waltz in with no work. They think they essentially own the city. They want to keep owning it. They want to pretend like they're respectable. In fact, they just want to be up there to steal and embezzle, just like the current council members do so. So we've had it. We don't want that. Hence, thankfully, other people are running. Good for them. And you just want to keep on attacking the community, like you're attacking Mr. Martinez in that one item. You're saying you didn't violate the Brown Act. That's false. You've been violating the Brown Act for years upon years. You even got a letter from the DA telling you, hey, you better shape up, otherwise we're coming in. Just like, they go into other cities, and someone mentioned the FBI. Yeah, good thing for the FBI. The FBI is in Baldwin Park. The FBI is in El Monte. And you guys wanted the El Monte council member to come over here, the city manager, is because you're all linked up in the corruption. But we're not going to have that anymore. Thankfully, the elections are coming, and people, I think, are going to vote a little bit different this time.
Speaker 18, please come forward.
Good evening, everyone. I am the delegate of the 64th District, which represents Downey and other cities in the region. I want to start off by saying that Mario Trujillo, you are not a qualified translator. By law, if someone needs a translator, you need to make that accessible, and that is also based on the population of the speakers in the region. To self-assign yourself to save some money or to just skirt procedure is not a viable option, but skirting procedure is technically what you've lost your jobs for in the past. You need to read the written public comments. You idiots don't want to do your job. Public comment should be accessible to the public, and that includes the written portion part. Receiving and filing it and not making it accessible to the community lacks transparency, and you guys should be ashamed of yourself. Where's the mayor? I wrote her up. I wrote her ass up for violating the Brown Act, which is agenda item number 13, which she has to be here to respond to because she was the perpetrator who told the constituent that they couldn't use their First Amendment constitutional right. So where is she? Item number 13, you can issue whatever opinion piece you want, City Attorney Lauren Langer, but that's all it is. It's an opinion piece by you. If you were to face any of these people after you violated their rights in front of a judge with the ACLU, I assure you, you will end up looking like a fool in court. Your boy Horacio, who ran for endorsement this week, I made sure that not only do all the delegates know that you're running his campaign, but I asked him, how does he feel about working with a council member who offered a 7-year plea deal to a guy who killed and murdered a 26-year-old. That's you, Mario Trujillo. You were not assigned to that federal court case, but yet you felt you had the audacity to intervene in a legal procedure against common procedure and then give the murderer 7 years? You're a pig, and you're disgusting, and you shouldn't be up there, you corrupt criminal. You're a thug who everyone here can go on YouTube and type in Mario Trujillo threatens constituent. Mario Trujillo challenges constituent to a fight. Mario Trujillo yells at women. Look it up on YouTube, people, and you will find more than 10 videos of this guy being a thug on that podium. You should be recalled, but if you had any real dignity, you should resign. You're pathetic. Chief Murray, why are you resigning?
Is there a motion and a second to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
So ordered by the Mayor Pro Tem. Now is the time for consent calendar items. Are there any council members that would like to remove or abstain from an item?
Just as a reminder, we have staff has removed items 7, 10, and 11 from the consent calendar.
Thank you, City Manager. Is there a motion and a second to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved with Mayor Frometa absent.
Thank you. The next order of business is administrative reports. There is one administrative report this evening. Item agenda number 18 is the appointment of city attorney and adoption of resolution approving the city attorney's employment agreement. This is a human resources issue. Item that the city council adopt resolution number 23-8193, a resolution of the city council of the city of Downey appointing John Funk as city attorney and improving the employment agreement between him and the city. City Manager Bradley, is there a staff report for item number 18?
Yes, Director McQueen will provide the report. Thank you.
Item before you this evening is a proposed resolution appointing John Funk as the city's new city attorney and approving the corresponding employment agreement. The prior city attorney left the city in May of 2022, and the position has been filled on an interim basis since that time. The city recently completed the recruitment process for the position, which was completed by the executive search firm of Bob Murray and Associates. The city received a total of 7 applicants for the position, and the top candidates with significant prior experience were invited to interview with the city council. Through this process, the council selected John Funk to fill the position with the city. Mr. Funk has over 24 years of related experience and is currently serving as the Chief Assistant City Attorney for the city of Santa Ana. As part of council's approval of this item, Senate Bill 1436 requires local agencies to report certain information before changing the compensation or benefits for employees classified as executives. Under this law, agencies must verbally report a summary of the recommended changes in salary or benefits prior to voting in the open session portion of the meeting. Approval of this resolution and the employment agreement will appoint Mr. Funk to serve as a city attorney effective September 18th, 2023. Annual salary will be $238,442, consistent with the established salary range for this position and the prior incumbent. An auto allowance of $300 per month, and a severance provision which consists of a lump sum payment of the value of 9 months' salary and medical benefits for termination without cause. All other benefits are the same as the city's other executive employees as established by council resolution. Sufficient funding is included in the budget as this is the same compensation package that was provided to the prior incumbent. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Do any council members have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I will now entertain a motion and a second to adopt the resolution appointing John Funk as the city attorney and approving the employment agreement.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
The motion is approved with Mayor Frometa absent.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome officially our new city attorney to the city of Downey. I'd like to note that he is homegrown. He actually grew up in this city, and this is a big moment for our city to have you come back and represent us now as our city attorney. Welcome, Attorney Funk. We look forward to seeing you. I believe your first day is Monday?
Yes, that's correct.
Welcome.
Thank you again.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, leads us to the conclusion of the meeting. The city council meeting will now adjourn in memory of Special Agent Patrick Bauer, U.S. Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, and veteran of the Arizona Air National Guard, who was shot and succumbed to his injuries during a departmental training. Today's meeting will also be adjourned in the memory of firefighter Sean Giles of Northeast Pennsylvania, struck and killed while directing traffic. And the meeting will also be adjourned in memory of firefighter vet Anthony DeSimone of the North Haven, Connecticut Fire Department, who died after suffering a medical emergency. Would you please join me in a moment of silence? The meeting is adjourned. The time is 7:53.